This lesson, we're going to be showing you how you can use AppScript in order to add a new column in the front and a new column in the end, and then also update the first row of values within those columns. So we're going to run the script, and when we go back into the sheet, we've got the column A, that's the first one, so we did it before, and here we did an after the last column there. We're using the get max columns to get a numeric value for the number of columns, and then we're adding 1 to it. And then we're setting the value as last and setting the value as first when we're selecting those columns. This lesson, we're going to be adding a new column to Sheets. So first of all, open up your Google Sheets, and we're going to populate some information into the Sheets. So this is just some dummy sample data that I'm adding in so that we do have some values that are sitting within Sheets. You can also zoom in, so set it to 200%. And then now going into open up your Google Apps Script Editor. So going under extensions, since this is going to be a bound script, we're going to be opening up the script editor via the Google Sheets extensions, and then go scroll down to where it says apps script, and that's going to open up the apps script editor. By default, you're going to start it with a function. So let's go ahead, we're going to rename this function. We're going to call it add column. So that's what the function is going to be doing, and adding the column. So first off, we need to select the sheet that we want to use. Because it's a bound script, we can use the app sheet, and then we can get whatever the active sheet is, so whatever the active spreadsheet object is. So we select that as the sheet. Let's select out the name, so to get the name of the sheet. Once we've got the sheet object, we've got a number of methods that are available to us, and one of them is the get name. So that will return back the name of the sheet. And for now, we're going to use the logger log to track and get the values of the variables while we're building the script. So that's the basic script that we're going to start out with. So go ahead, once you've written the script, you can select within the editor to hit run, and that's going to run the script, and it's going to select the active spreadsheet and then get the name of the active spreadsheet. So this is the bound script, and right now we just have it named as sheet 1. We also need to accept the permissions. So whenever you're doing any type of new requirements within the apps script, you do have to accept permissions. So this is just accepting permissions within the sheet, and it's giving us the sheet name, which is bound script testing. So that's the sheet name there. We want to select and get the number of columns that are currently within the sheet. So this is getting the name of the spreadsheet, but we want to select the sheet itself. So we can do that. So I'm going to just rename this to the spreadsheet object, and then create another function where we're going to actually grab the active sheet. So this is going to be the sheet name that we're looking for, and this is sheet 1. So we can leave it as sheet 1, or we can update it however we need to use. So there we want to get the spreadsheet, and then we can open the sheets. So we're getting all of the sheets that are current within the spreadsheet. That's going to return back an array. So we can see that within the sheet. And right now we'll just update this to be the sheet name. So run the add column, and this is going to give us an array of the sheets in order to return back the first one. So we can select the first item in the index and then update this back to sheet. And then here we can output the sheet name and run that again. So that's giving us sheet 1. So we want to select the number of columns within the current sheet. So this is where we can get the last column, and we want to get the index value of the last column. So using the get max, so we've got a number of max columns, we've got max rows. So select out the max columns, and that's going to give us an index value of the number of columns. And I'm just going to go into the sheet, and I'll add a couple other sheets there so that we have a number of sheets there. So run that, and that should give us the last column of the sheet that is currently active. And we'll run that again. So it's the first one. And it's returning back the number 26. So that's because we've got all the way to Z. So we've got, that's the number of columns that we have. And we want to add in a new column into that sheet. So we select the sheet object and then do an insert column. And we have a few options here where we can insert the column before or after, or we could just insert a column value. And we're going to actually insert the column before. So we're inserting one column. You also have an option to insert columns, so you can insert multiple columns. And this is where the index value of the column that we want to insert before. So we're going to just use the first item there. So index value of 1. And this is a column that we're going to insert. And within the column, we get the range, selecting the first column and column 1. And then we're going to set the value, and this will be the header of the new column that we've just created. It's just going to be requiring a string value. So run that, and that's inserted the new column there. And I'll just update this to say column number 1. So now we've got the columns there, and we still have the all the way to Z. So we've got the A and B are the new columns that have been inserted. So now we have 27 columns, and then after this we're going to have 28 columns. And then this is just setting the top value there for the value within the column. You can also add a column after. So this is just using the index value. So it'll add a column at the end, and that's going to use the last column value variable there. And this is going to be insert column after. And just inserting the one column. Let's set a value for that one as well. So we're going to select it. So the first value within the get range, this is going to be the row value. So then this is going to be the column value. So if we want to add to the column, so just do a +1 there. And then here we can write that this is last, and this is going to be first. Let's go into the script, and we'll add in a new row and have these numbered, and just drag it across all the way till we've got to the end there. So we can better see the values as they get inserted. So there's 27 columns right now. Run the script, and now it's added in additional columns there. And I need to select this to be the first sheet. So going back there. So it's added in the first one, and then going in there, and it's added in the last one. And notice what happened here is because we added in the first and the last, so the calculations changed a little bit because we inserted a column. So in order to do this properly, we need to select the max columns afterwards, after we've done the inserting of the column. So that's why that got messed up. And let's do that one more time. We'll run it again. And now this time we can see that it has in fact inserted into the last, and we've got a value there within the first. So it's taking those index values and doing the inserting of that. The columns, we can delete them, and we can of course run the script again and just make sure that it's working properly. So that's how you can set the values within the columns as you're selecting them.